Sheturdo. Three dream targets for the Packers at the NFL trade deadline to boost Super Bowl hopes. The Green Bay Packers find themselves in an enviable position heading into the NFL trade deadline. After a hard-fought 24-22 victory over the Houston Texans, they've addressed two major issues: the kicking game and the pass rush. New kicker Brandon McManus sealed the win with a clutch, game-winning field goal in his debut, suggesting that the Packers may have finally found their long-term replacement for Mason Crosby. Meanwhile, the defense stepped up and put pressure on Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud, indicating that the pass rush is starting to find its rhythm. However, despite these improvements, the Packers may still need to consider reinforcing certain areas, especially with the possibility of injuries on defense. The cornerback position, in particular, remains a potential weak spot. As seen in the loss to the Minnesota Vikings, injuries to Jair Alexander and Carrington Valentine exposed a vulnerability in the secondary. Green Bay could stand pat and save its draft capital, but if general manager Brian Gutekunst is looking to maximize the team's Super Bowl chances, here are three dream trade targets they should pursue before the deadline. Busky during our dream trade, targets the Packers should consider. Sucking 3. Azeez Ojulari, edge, New York Giants. The Packers' pass rush showed marked improvement in Week 7 against the Texans, but adding more firepower on the edge wouldn't hurt, especially if veteran Preston Smith is traded. Azeez Ojulari from the New York Giants could be the perfect target. With the Giants falling out of playoff contention, they might become sellers at the deadline. Ojulari, a talented 24-year-old pass rusher, could be available given that he's often played behind Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns when healthy. Ojulari has already racked up 4 sacks and 5 quarterback hits this season, including 3 sacks in his last 2 games. He's a rising star, and pairing him with Rashawn Gary would give Green Bay one of the most fearsome pass-rushing duos in the league. Adding Ojulari would also provide long-term stability to the Packers' defense, as he could seamlessly replace Smith if the veteran's future with the team is uncertain. Morris 2, Greg Newsome 2, CB, Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are in freefall, with a 1-6 record and a season that seems to be spiraling out of control. The loss of their starting quarterback and the trade of wide receiver Amari Cooper has signaled that Cleveland may be ready for a fire sale. This makes cornerback Greg Newsome a realistic trade target for the Packers. At just 24 years old, Newsome is a versatile cornerback who excels both on the outside and in the slot. In Green Bay, he would create a dream tandem with All-Pro Jair Alexander, allowing Casey and Nixon to move back to the slot. Where he's more effective, Newsome's skill set would be invaluable to a Packers secondary that has already dealt with key injuries. Last season, Newsome had 2 interceptions and defended 14 passes while allowing a passer rating of just 74.8. He's still under contract through 2025, making him a long-term asset for the Packers' defense. Sabrique Rose 1, Max Crosby, edge, Las Vegas Raiders. This is the true dream scenario, adding Las Vegas Raiders star pass rusher Max Crosby. While the chances of the Raiders parting with their defensive cornerstone are slim to none, the impact Crosby would have on the Packers' defense is undeniable. Since the start of the 2022 season, Crosby has been a dominant force, registering 33.5 sacks, 78 quarterback hits, and a league-leading 55 tackles for loss. Crosby's relentless motor and ability to make game-changing plays would transform Green Bay's defense into an elite unit. He would command double teams, freeing up opportunities for Rashawn Gary and Kenny Clark to wreak havoc. In combination with the blitzing prowess of linebacker Edgerrin Cooper and a secondary capable of tight coverage, Crosby would elevate the Packers' defense to championship caliber. Conclusion: while standing pat at the trade deadline is a viable option, especially given the Packers' recent improvements, adding one of these dream targets could propel Green Bay to Super Bowl contention. Azeez Ojulari would provide youthful energy to the pass rush. Greg Newsome, too, would solidify the cornerback position for both the present and future, and Max Crosby, though a long shot, would turn the Packers' defense into a nightmare for any opponent. With a strong core in place and Jordan Love continuing to develop as a playmaker, these moves could give the Packers the extra edge they need for a deep postseason run.